So what is a GST? GST is a tax levied and collected on interstate and intrastate supply of taxable goods and services by a taxable person. So this is one sentence I have made and I have divided that into points. So every line requires explanation. In general, you can read it as one line. The GST is a tax levied and collected on interstate and intrastate supply of taxable goods and services by a taxable person. First is when I say tax. So tax requires authority of the constitution. Without the constitutional authority, no tax can be levied and collected. So where from comes the authority? This is here, constitutional authority for GST. Article 265 says, no tax unless authorized by law. Whatever be the tax, there has to be a supporting law for that. And so if there is a no law, tax cannot be collected. Then Schedule 7 of the Constitution, that says authorizes the state government to levy GST. Then Article 269A, that is inserted by the 101st Constitutional Amendment, authorizes the government to levy and collect tax on interstate supplies. So these are the provisions under the Constitution of India because of which GST becomes valid. So without a proper authorization of law, the first point says GST is a tax, and Article 265 is saying there cannot be any tax unless authorized by law. So where are the authorizations? So authorization is there in Article 265 plus Schedule 7 plus Article 269A. All these three things wrapped together, it becomes a valid that government can collect tax on GST. Then levy and collection. So levy and collection has to be authorized by the law. So under which provisions this is authorized? So levy and collection of GST under Section 9 of the CGST Act and Section 5 of the IGST Act. This is authorized to collect the tax. So charging sections, the tax is charged under a specific section of the Act. As far as CGST Act is concerned, that is covered under Section 9 of the CGST Act, and the same provisions are covered under Section 5 of the IGST Act. So here, I'm not going into the sections at this point of time. Later on, I will give you a reference, but here you just have to understand that as per Article 265 of the Constitution, first point, Article 265, tax cannot be levied unless authorized by law. So law is authorized. So Constitution is authorizing, then further it is authorized by the Act, that is CGST Act and IGST Act. So as far as CGST is concerned, it is authorized under Section 9, and IGST is concerned, it is authorized under Section 5 of the IGST Act. Then GST is of two types of supply, that is intrastate and interstate supplies. Only for reference, this chart you can see that on intrastate supply, that is within the same state. So where the location of the supplier and the place of supply happen to be in the same state, that is called intrastate supply. Later on, that is in writing, here only for reference. So what is called intrastate supply? So in nutshell, you can say within the same state. What is within the same state? The place of supplier, location of supplier, and the place of supply. If those happen to be within the same state or union territory, then that will be referred as intrastate supply. And if there is an intrastate supply, two tax will be charged, that is CGST and SGST. Both amounts are exactly equal. And if it is the interstate supply prima facie means the location of supplier and the place of supply are in two different states, or two union territories, or state plus union territory. That is called interstate supply. Import export is also covered in the definition of interstate supply. So we will not have a specific provision for import export. That is also treated as an interstate supply for the purpose of GST. And tax is chargeable on them on import export also under Section 5 of the IGST Act. And only IGST will be chargeable there on. No CGST, no SGST, only IGST. So IGST amount is equal to aggregate of CGST and SGST. Amount of IGST is equal to aggregate of CGST and SGST. And IGST is collected by central government, and half of that amount is shared by the central government with the state government, which is the recipient state. So central government shares the revenue with the recipient state. So 50% of the amount collected by the government directly goes to the state government, and that is the recipient. Recipient means in which state goods or services are being received. So central government will transfer that money. So instead of the supplier paying the money to the state government of another state government, the job is done by the central government. So central government says, if it is interstate supply, pay the whole tax to us, then we will retain 50% and balance 50% we will transfer to the state government, that is the recipient government. So that is levy and collection. This is authorized under two different sections and two different laws. Number one, under section 9 of the CGST Act and under section 5 of the IGST Act, levy and collection is authorized. So there is a authorization coming from the Constitution, there is an authorization under the Act also, and these two sections will be referred as charging sections for the purpose of GST. Which are charging sections? Section 9 of the CGST and section 5 of the IGST. These are referred as charging sections. Then, here we have detailed explanation what is called interstate supply. Why we are talking about this? I'll take you back here. Point number 3 says interstate and intrastate supply. Interstate supply is defined under section 7 of IGST Act. Interstate supply is defined under section 8 of the IGST Act. Note it carefully. Interstate supply defined under section 7 of IGST Act. Intrastate supply defined under section 8 of the IGST Act. So here we will go to, this is here. So what is called interstate supply? Interstate supply, as per section 7 of the IGST Act, this is supply of goods or services where location of the supplier and the place of supply are in two different states or two different union territories or a state and union territory, then they should be treated as a supply in the course of interstate trade or commerce. So location of supplier is in one state or union territory, and the place where supply is being sent, that is destination, that happens to be in another state or union territory, then this will be referred as interstate supply. Quite possible the supplier and recipient both are in the same state, both are in the same city, both are in the same building, but where the delivery is being given. What is the destination? That will determine place of supply. And place of supply, this is determined as per section 10, 11, 12, and 13 of the IGST Act. Place of supply, right, that is defined, it is determined as per section 10, 11, 12, and 13 of the IGST Act. That we cannot cover up today, so I'm just giving a reference. So location of supplier, that is a defined term. Place of supply, we have to decide as per section 10, 11, 12, and 13 of the IGST. So the section 10 and 11 are in relation to goods, section 12 and 13 are in relation to services. So we have to determine the place of supply as per section 10, 11, 12, and 13 of the IGST Act, and we have to determine location of the supplier as per the definition. So if these are two places, location of the supplier and the place of supply, if these happen to be in two different states or two different union territories or a state and union territory, then it will be treated as a supply of goods or services in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Now, what is the common mistake committed here? Students do write location of supplier and recipient in different states. Recipient need not be in another state. He may be in the same state, he may be in the same city, he may be in the same building. But the place of supply is another state. So these two words, you have to be very careful that location of supplier and the place of supply, these are in two different states. Okay. Then subsection 2. This is supply of goods imported into territory of India. So this is what we talked about, that interstate supply includes import and export also. So subsection 2 of section 7 is clarifying supplying of goods imported into territory of India till the cross custom frontiers of India shall be treated to be supply of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. So that will also be treated as the interstate. So there are no specific provisions under GST for charging GST on import and export. This is already covered under the definition of interstate supply. Then supply of services or both. Now this is something different. This says even if it is within the same state, it can be treated as an interstate supply. Exception number E, where the supplier is located in India and the place of supply is outside India. That is clear. Number 2, this is to or by a special economic zone developer or a special economic zone unit. So suppose you are sitting in Mumbai, here from you are sending the goods to a special economic zone. The special economic zone is already situated in Maharashtra. Destination is within the same state. Still, it will be considered as interstate supply because the special economic zone has been given a different treatment, different understanding. So even if it is within the same state, still it will be treated as a interstate supply. Then number C is saying the taxable territory not being interstate supply, not covered elsewhere in this section, shall be treated as supply of goods in the course of interstate supply. So where any transaction which cannot be covered in intrastate, then that is bound to be considered as interstate. So if there is a confusion, and if you are sure that this is not intrastate, then the answer is already given under subsection 5 that this will be treated as interstate supply. So this is only a brief introduction what is referred as interstate supply. So why interstate supply? Because interstate supply is covered under the IGST Act. Tax is levied under IGST under section 5. When it will be levied? Answer is here. So where location of the supplier and the place of supply happen to be in two different states or two different union territories or a state and union territory, then it should be treated as a supply in the course of interstate trade and commerce, and that includes import, and specifically subsection 5, that is a unit in SEZ and outside SEZ, even if they happen to be within the same state, still it will be treated as a interstate supply. Okay, sorry. So, so any questions now? Surinder?
No, sir. Absolutely clear, sir.
Any other person? Any?
Hello.
Yes,
Hello,
please.
Location of the supplier and the place of supply will differ in bill to ship to movement. Is it, sir?
These are very much different. Location of supplier is a defined term. Place of supply is defined as determined as per section 10, 11, 12, and 13 of the IGST Act. Those are long sections. That's why I have not taken up in this lecture. Particularly section 12 and 13 in relation to services are really very, very big sections. So we have to determine the place of supply as per those provisions. Location of supplier, that is as per the definition. Definition says where the place is registered, then registered place. If the services are being given from place other than registered, then permanent location. So location of supplier, it is as per definition, and place of supply as per section 10, 11, 12, and 13. Anything else?
Sir, special economic zones, there are duty-free warehousings are being given. So when duty-free is there, so how do we charge GST there?
Which duty-free? Which one?
Warehousing in special economic zones. Duty-free warehousing is given, or the duty-free sheds are given. Like whatever business that you are doing, it is completely duty-free. So how do you charge GST in that case? Because even GST is exempted.
Within SEZ, there is no GST. If you supply the goods from outside to GST area, or rather these SEZ units, then GST becomes chargeable. But if that person who's procuring the goods from you from outside the SEZ, if he is already registered as a Star Export House, do you know the concept of Star Export House?
Somewhat, not much.
So they have a right to establish warehouses and they can procure the goods without paying duty. So very specific is not every SEZ unit can procure the goods without paying duty. So if they are exporter and if they have a status as export house, then they are authorized to establish a duty-free export, or rather duty-free warehouses. So they can procure the goods without paying duty, but only for export, not for any other purpose.
Acha, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Any other question?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Sir, when you are referring to the provisions in the, this act, GST Act and other acts, you are referring to it as section. While you are referring to the Constitution, you are referring to it as article. I don't understand the idea behind this reference.
No, that difference is created by lawmakers themselves. That contents of articles that contents of the Constitution will be referred as the articles. No specific logic.
Okay.
Right. So it is only the lawmakers themselves have done it that way. Okay. That the points in Constitution will be referred as articles, and under any other law, those will be referred as sections.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So we move ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now getting ahead, this is interstate supply. This is subject to provisions of section 10. So section 10, I've been telling again and again, section 10, 11, 12, 13, these determine place of supply. Supply of goods where the location of supplier and place of supply of goods are in the same state. Now compare that here. What is written here? Location of supply and place of supply are in two different states or two union territories or a state plus union territory. This is called interstate supply. And now read here what is given in subsection 1. Where the location of supplier and the place of supply are in the same state or same union territory, then that will be treated as intra-state supply. Goods may pass through another state, but where the destination is, if the destination happens to be in the same state, then it will be treated as intra-state supply. In Maharashtra, there are certain places where the goods will reach after crossing to Madhya Pradesh, MP. So goods touching another state is not important. Question is, where is the destination? So if the destination of the goods happen to be in the same state where the supplier is also located, then this will be considered as intrastate supply. Here we have some questions going on. Sorry. I don't know, some problem is there, so I'll not change it. So here the question is, Satish is writing section 8 of the CGST, right, being interested, section 8 of IGST is given the heading, it is section 8 of IGST, it is not CGST. So coming again, so where the location of supplier and the place of supply happen to be within the same state, then this will be referred as intrastate supply. And again, change the same provision regarding a special economic zone that is given, that provided the following supplies shall not be treated as intrastate supply because these are covered under the interstate supply. So if the goods are being supplied from SEZ to a place outside SEZ, it is an intrastate supply. From outside the state to a SEZ unit, that is the interstate supply, that will not be considered as the intrastate supply. Same is under subsection 2. This says where the location of supply and the place of supply as per section 12 and 13 of the IGST Act happen to be in two different states, or rather in the same state, that will be treated as the intrastate supply. The question is, what is the location of supplier and what is the place of supply? Location of supplier and place of supply. These words you have to remember very, very carefully. See here. Location of the supplier and place of supply. These are important words. If these are in the same state, it is the intrastate supply, and if these happen to be in different states, it will become a interstate supply. Is it okay? Keep on answering me. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah, tell me. So again, going back to the basics of CGST, here we have talked about supply, interstate supply and intrastate supply. Point number 1, GST, the tax coming from, or tax is authorized by Constitution of India, and then it is further authorized by CGST Act and IGST Act. What is interstate supply? That is as per section 7 of the IGST Act. What is intrastate supply? That is section 8 of the IGST Act. So interstate supply is a supply of goods or services in which location of the supplier and place of supply are in two different states or union territories. Intrastate supply as per section 8 of the IGST, where the location of the supplier and place of supply is in the same state or union territory. Right? What is supply? That we are going to talk about little later. Then supply should be of taxable goods and services. Not every supply is subject to tax. Being supply is one part, but supply should be of taxable goods and services. So what are goods? What are exempted goods? What are taxable goods? We are going to talk about. Same is about the services. What is the meaning of the word services? What are exempted supplies? And then what is taxable service? So unless a supply is of taxable goods and taxable service, tax cannot be charged. So charging tax is one part, but on what? Supply. Supply of what? Of the taxable goods and taxable services. So what is the meaning of taxable goods